Good evening and welcome to CBN4's Primetime News. I am your presenter, Sheena Harry. It has been 3 years since the passing of former President of Venezuela, Hugo Chavez, and the Venezuelan embassy here in Dominica commemorated his death and celebrated his lifetime of achievements. First Secretary to the Ambassador, Yaritza Barbosa, said that Chavez left behind a great legacy.
Chavez's legacy remains alive in the memory of Latin America and the Caribbean.
Barbosa said that Chavez was instrumental in the implementation of numerous successful programs in Dominica, programs that are evidence of his commitment to revolutionary democracy.
Achievements are expressed in Dominica with ALBA, Petrocaribe, international scholarship programs, Petrocasas, and soon Miracle Mission, among others.
The anniversary was marked by a wreath laying at Simon Bolivar Square in Goodwill, and the Chancellor of the Embassy, Edixio Chorio, referred to Chavez as a humble, passionate leader who bonded with the people and was a defender of the planet who displayed a love for all humanity. Prime Minister Roosevelt Skerrit has responded to statements made by the leader of the opposition, Lennox Linton, on the controversial issue of electoral reform. Shana Esprit has this report.
Opposition leader Lennox Linton, at a town hall meeting last week, addressed a forum indicating that the opposition intends to challenge proposals made for electoral reform. The United Workers' Party expressed concerns of developments in recent months regarding two institutions, the Electoral Commission and the Integrity in Public Office Commission. The United Workers' Party leader said he has a mandate to ensure and safeguard all democratic practices and integrity. However, Prime Minister Skerrit stated Linton is free to inform the Commission about his suggestions in respect to electoral reform. According to the Prime Minister, Linton must also remind the public that he, as a leader of the opposition, has recommended to the President to appoint 2 members on the Commission, so he is free, like any citizens in Dominica, to write to the Commission and indicate what their views and the specific recommendations are in respect to the electoral reform. The Prime Minister noted, "We have not imposed those amendments on the Commission. We have not told the Commission those amendments that you must consider and you must agree to. We have no such control over the Commission." Skerrit stated the only party in Dominica who is really serious about electoral reform is the Dominica Labour Party. Others talk about it and pretend to be interested, but they would love to have the status quo remain so that they can have a platform to speak from. Skerrit added that the Dominica Labour Party has engaged its lawyers and the Attorney General to draft government's policy positions into amendments and submit it to the Commission.
As cleanup campaigns continue locally, one priest is expressing concern about one area that has been overlooked. Larry LaRocque explains.
Priest Father Charles Martin says he is concerned by the littering of the Roseau Catholic Cemetery. Dominicans should be ashamed of themselves for using the cemetery as their dumping ground, Martin stressed in disappointment. According to Martin, recently, the cemetery appeared to have been used as a dumping ground littered with old desks, chairs, rubbish, and other debris. The church pays a total of $13,000 annually to ensure the cemetery is cleaned regularly, and the public should respect it at all times, Martin added. Larry LaRocque for CBN4.
Also making our headlines, the Dominica TVET Council will host an Industry Linkages Forum on March 9th through the 10th, which is expected to see addresses from Education Minister Peter Seja and Prime Minister Roosevelt Skerrit. Executive Director of the Dominica TVET Council, Abraham Durant, says the forum will seek to establish the linkage in training for technical vocational education, employment of persons with skills who have been trained under the program, and certification.
The forum is in keeping with a CARICOM initiative under the CARICOM Trade and Competitiveness Program and the CARICOM Education for Employment programs, by which CARICOM is seeking to develop a mechanism for free movement of skills and people in the areas of technical education, that is, people with technical skills. We know that that movement is already facilitated by our CSEC certifications offered by CXC, and other areas in academia, people who have degrees and diplomas and so on, but there's no mechanism for facilitating people with technical skills.
Duras said discussions will focus on Dominica's capacity to facilitate, to deliver technical vocational education and training, and to eventually be able to award certification. The workshop will begin at 9 a.m. on both days. A well-known Catholic priest is introducing a new industry to Dominica. Here's Larry LaRocque with the details.
Catholic priest Father Franklin Coffey is on a drive for a new industry in Dominica, one he deems religious tourism, which according to him has tremendous potential. Coffey said the idea came about a number of years ago during a pilgrimage trip to the Holy Land, Jerusalem. Coffey says he's currently working on his first religious tourism event scheduled to take place later this month. Larry LaRocque for CBN4.
While there, I found out there were about 500 people from the Caribbean. And I got that vision of we having, tourism. I say, why should we pay so much money to go so far to pray, So 16 years ago, I had that vision of people from the Caribbean gathering somewhere in the islands. So I've been talking about it, discussing it, planning, and so on.
World Glaucoma Week is held in March of each year to increase awareness about the disease which has impaired the lives of many. Shanna Esprit has more details.
Glaucoma is described as a group of eye diseases which causes progressive optic nerve damage, resulting in the gradual loss of vision. A collaborative project between the World Glaucoma Association and the World Glaucoma Patient Association contributes to the elimination of glaucoma blindness by alerting people to have regular eye checks, including optic nerve checks. This year, the theme for World Glaucoma Week is Prevent Blindness from Glaucoma, Get Involved. As Dominicans join in recognizing World Glaucoma Week, Minister of Health Dr. Kenneth Daru speaks on the importance of early detection for the disease.
Patients do not have any symptoms of the disease until it has caused advanced loss of vision, and the first warning signals might be when patients begin bouncing into objects as they walk and have difficulty seeing at night. It is also of great importance to know that the loss of vision and blindness from glaucoma is permanent, meaning it cannot be reversed. And whilst it cannot be cured, it can definitely be controlled, making it imperative that the detection, diagnosis, and management be made in a timely manner.
Daru informed that 50% of people who suffer from glaucoma are not aware, resulting in over 9 million people in the world who are clinically blind from the disease.
To reduce the incidence of blindness from glaucoma, and we all must be involved in the early detection, diagnosis, and management of the disease. Early detection and adherence to treatment to lower the intraocular pressure is one of the main strategies needed to reduce blindness from glaucoma. And in order to maximize the effectiveness of this strategy, one must target those at risk, mainly blacks over the age of 40 years and the relatives of people already diagnosed with open-angle glaucoma.
The Minister of Health listed a number of steps one can take to help reduce blindness from glaucoma. Darrow stated that Dominicans should take advantage of the number of eye care services available by the healthcare system. This disease is also often referred to as the silent thief of sight. Shana Esprit reporting for CBN4 News.
A number of physical education teachers are now better equipped to deal with the issue of child protection following their participation in a one-day workshop. Nicole Tuse, who is a welfare officer, says the workshop was very important in light of the growing issue of child abuse plaguing our society.
So this is just an avenue to help the coaches, to empower them, to educate them in ways of protecting the children so that at the end of the day, they have a good sporting activity and not be abused. In 2014, I believe, we had a workshop already with a first set of coaches, and we're having this set today, and we'll be having follow-ups with other coaches in the future.
According to Tuse, the workshop was planned before the recent sex scandal controversy involving 3 prominent men in society. Also in the news, authorities with the Dominica Police Force detained another man on Thursday in connection with the unraveling sexual scandal involving a 15-year-old girl. First, police took the man in for questioning, but he was eventually charged with indecent assault on a minor. Reports indicate that he was granted $15,000 station bail late Friday, and a third man linked to the matter was taken into custody on Sunday. He too was granted bail in the amount of $15,000. Both men were scheduled to appear in court today. However, an application for a judicial review was filed with the court, wherein the judge reviews the lawfulness of the arrests and the charges. The first man arrested in the matter made his initial appearance in court on Friday and was charged with 6 counts under the Sexual Offences Act, 3 alleged counts of indecent assault, and 3 alleged counts of unlawful sexual intercourse. His bail was set at $75,000. Investigations are ongoing. And an amendment has been drafted and is almost ready to be presented to Cabinet. Stakeholders, including the Attorney General's Office, the National Youth Council, the Dominica Christian Council, Social Welfare Division, the Bureau of Gender Affairs, the NGO Coalition, and legal consultant Ray Harris were assigned the responsibility last October by the Minister of Justice, Immigration and National Security, Raymond Blackmore, to review the Sexual Offences Act dating back to the late 90s. Harris stated that one of their goals was to ensure that the group was not just one of talk, but one of action.
From the outset, we realized that no matter what recommendations we make, we wanted to ensure that our committee was not just a talk shop where we were going to make recommendations, but we were also going to make an effort to focus on the Sexual Offences Act to see in what way we could immediately recommend certain improvements to that particular law.
And some of the areas addressed in the amendment included an extension of the penalty for rape, especially in the more heinous cases, a provision for compensation to the families of rape victims, which is separate from what they may receive from civil suits, redefinition and extension of penalty for gross indecency, penalization for the sexual grooming of a minor, penalization for voyeurism, implementation of the mandatory reporting of suspected abuse of minors, among others. One submission that did not go past the first stage was the legalization of buggery. Attorney General Levi Peter said that the amendments will be presented to Cabinet and he expects that action will be taken shortly. He reiterated that there will remain reporting restrictions and the release of any information that may identify the victim or perpetrators in a sexual offense case is illegal.
Subsection 1 says, after a person is charged with an offense under this act, any matter that is likely to lead members of the public to identify a person as the complainant or as the accused in relation to that charge shall not be published in a written publication or be broadcast in Dominica except A, where on the application of the complainant or the accused, the court directs that the effect of the restriction is to impose a substantial and unreasonable restriction on the reporting of proceedings, and that it is in the public interest to remove the restriction in respect to the applicant. Or B, in the case of the accused, after the person has been tried and convicted of the offense.
And Section 2 goes on to state the penalties for breaching that law. Peter said that the act will continue to be reviewed and any other adjustments will be made in the future as the society continues to evolve and develop. And once again, we appreciate you joining us for Primetime News here on CBN4. We welcome your feedback at any time on our website, cbn4.com, or on our Facebook page. And if there's ever a story you'd like covered, be sure to send us an email, cbn4news@gmail.com. In the meantime, I am Sheena Harry saying good evening. Coming up next, the Sports Report with Ali and Christopher.